In the dimly lit harem, Abdulhamid stands still, lost in thought as eunuchs approach. The news reaches Abdulhamid, yet it brings hesitation rather than joy. In the resplendent throne room of Topkapi Palace, Abdulhamid stands, his figure illuminated by sunlight as he bears the weight of the Ottoman Empire. Sunlight floods the opulent throne room as Abdulhamid begins to speak, his voice resonating with determination. Janissary leaders stand amongst the court officials, their faces etched with skepticism as they listen to Abdulhamid's vision. Abdulhamid gestures expansively, his words painting a vision of an empire reformed, just, and peaceful. "My esteemed court, today marks a new beginning," Abdulhamid declares, his voice filled with hope and resolve. In the dimly lit private chambers, Abdulhamid sits amidst flickering candlelight, the scent of incense heavy in the air. "Gentlemen, the empire teeters on the brink," Abdulhamid declares, his voice echoing the unspoken anxiety in the room. "Alliances come with a price often paid in blood," Abdulhamid insists, his tone firm with resolve. "We will find it through diplomacy," Abdulhamid proclaims, his refusal to condemn another generation to war resonating deeply. Inside the Janissary barracks, defiance is palpable as Janissaries openly disregard the new training regulations. The air vibrates with unrest and rebellion. Every shadow seems to whisper of rising conflict. On the Black Sea, Ottoman ships struggle against the relentless assault of the Russian fleet. From a distant vantage point, Abdulhamid observes the unfolding disaster, his concern deepening with each passing moment. Abdulhamid acknowledges the grim reality. A complete modernization of the Ottoman Navy is now a matter of survival. Abdulhamid's sharp gaze sweeps across the vibrant shipyard, observing the skeletal ships taking shape. His movements are purposeful as he guides the shipbuilders and engineers. His voice rises above the clamor, stressing the need for innovation and technological integration. The ornate council chamber falls silent as urgent news arrives. Rebellions rage in Syria and Egypt. Abdulhamid sits at the head of the table, his face an inscrutable mask as chaos unfolds. Military leaders shift, their unease palpable as they await Abdulhamid's command. On the battlefield, Ottoman and rebel forces collide in a savage, relentless confrontation. The brutal combat unfolds, a stark reminder of the war's grim reality. The clash intensifies, a scene that sharply contrasts with Abdulhamid's vision of peace. In the heart of Topkapi Palace, Abdulhamid sits alone, the weight of his empire pressing down on him. The flickering candlelight casts long, dancing shadows across the walls, mirroring the turmoil within. Abdulhamid receives news of the Treaty of Küçük Kaynarca. He is devastated by the loss of Crimea and the concessions to Russia. In the heart of Topkapi Palace, Abdulhamid, burdened by care, seeks a moment of peace with Ayşe Kadun, the harem's soft glow casting shadows on his weary face. Abdulhamid's voice is heavy with dread. "I fear for the future of the empire, Ayşe." The shadows lengthen, and I feel powerless to stop the encroaching darkness. In the heart of Topkapi Palace, Abdulhamid sits at the head of the council table, facing a delegation of stern Russian ambassadors. Abdulhamid's impassioned plea echoes through the chamber. "Crimea is rightfully Ottoman territory. We seek only to restore what is ours." A Russian ambassador responds with cold resolve. The situation has changed. Crimea is now under Russian protection. Abdulhamid's voice rises with indignation. Protection or occupation? We will not stand for this aggression. The Russian ambassador concludes the negotiation with a dismissive finality. These are the terms. There is nothing more to discuss. Russian forces stand triumphant as flags wave, symbolizing Russia's firm grip on Crimea. Among the Crimean civilians, fear and resentment ripple across their faces. The shadow of the once mighty Ottoman Empire looms, a stark reminder of its diminished power. In the dim light of Topkapi Palace, Abdulhamid kneels in solitude, his face etched with inner turmoil. His brow furrows with the weight of decision, a silent battle raging within him. Clutching prayer beads, he whispers, "Guide me. Show me the path. Peace or strength. Which must I choose?" Ochakov burns as the Ottoman fortress crumbles under relentless assault. Amidst the chaos of the siege, Russian soldiers advance, their faces grim with determination. Sparks fly as Ottoman soldiers and Russian soldiers meet in a fierce, desperate clash. The ground trembles as the fortress, once a symbol of Ottoman power, succumbs to the might of the Russian army. In the radiant chambers of Topkapi Palace, Abdulhamid stands motionless as sunlight floods through the windows. The message arrives, and Abdulhamid's face grows pale as the terrible news of Ochakov's fall pierces his heart. The weight of the empire, the endless wars. It all becomes too much. Abdulhamid collapses, clutching his chest. As Abdulhamid falls, attendants rush to his side, their faces reflecting urgent concern and fear. In the hushed chamber, Abdulhamid lies still, his frail form barely visible beneath the silk sheets. Family members huddle around Abdulhamid, their faces etched with grief. Court officials stand at a respectful distance, their heads bowed in solemn silence. A heavy, mournful atmosphere fills the room as Abdulhamid peacefully passes away.